Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Handmade by Ying with Donna. I'm here today to accept the challenge. Yeah, a challenge from Tracy over at the Sewing Channel. The girl has some serious mad skills. She has wrote her first pattern and I'm one of the ones that's accepting her challenge. It is called Scrapberry Gingham. She just released her video, so you're going to want to make sure that you do slip over to her channel. Let her know I sent you in the comments below. But make sure you watch the video called Scrapberry Gingham. In the description box of her channel as well as mine, you're going to see the pattern. I'll be working it out on my side of the house, but it's going to be streamlined really fast, and it's going to be in one video segment. We're just going to be splicing it together, so you're going to be able to see it beginning to end all in one video on my side as well. As you can see, Tracy's also done that on her side, and a few others will be also. So with all of that being said, my deadline to complete this mission project is August the 31st. That's my birthday. So I'm sure I'm going to have it done before that, because what girl wants to be under the wire on her birthday? So I won't forget that cutoff date. Also, please remember, go over to Tracy's at the Sewing Channel. If you accept the challenge that she's put out for you as well as me and everyone else, make sure that as you do this, you let her know that you're doing the challenge, and then you follow her guidelines, follow her pattern, and make sure you email her a picture of your completed project. If she gets more than 10, she's going to showcase these over on her channel. Now, how cool is that? So with all of that being said, let's look down here at the table and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is her project. And the measurements of this quilt, I'm not going to give you everything. I'm just going to give you the little tidbits. It's going to finish at 70 by 75. 70 across, 75 down. This is your berry. You can call it a strawberry. You can call it any kind of berry you want. So she's giving you full range. You just need to pick a few fabrics. Light, medium, dark. And that's going to be here for your gingham. Then inside of this, you're going to pull from your scraps. And that's what's going to make this even a funner project. I'm going to show you a couple choices, but then when I come back, I'll show you what my final selection was. I'm torn between, for this part here, I'm going to either choose, that'll be my medium, this will be my dark, and then this will be my light. I'm kind of torn between that, or let me set this aside, or I can go with this one as my dark. Is that not gorgeous? This one is my medium, and this one is my light. So I think that's going to be iffy on which way I go. I'm really liking this. Then I'll show you some other little selections. She says go through your scrap ends and pull from that. So I've pulled some of them from my scrap bin. And these are my reds. I've starched everything heavily as her directions say. But look at this. These are going to be just stinking gorgeous in this project. I'll give you a little sample. And you're going to be making what I like to call the hourglass blocks. They are stinking gorgeous. You're going to make a lot of them, but it's going to turn out fabulous in the end. So that'll be my pink. And yes, I will need more fabric than this, but this is just showing you to do the red and then the pinks to make your berry. And then I'm tore here on the stem as well. The stem, am I going to go with something lights, or am I going to do this darker? I went ahead and took the liberty and put my stabilizer on the back, because this is the only part of this project that you will be doing is applique. This will sit down in here on the center. So let me move this out of the way and let you see. This will nestle right down in here on this part of the pattern, and this will be your ending piece. You will zigzag this in or stay stitch it however you choose. This wee little piece That's going to be your stem. And as you can see, it's going to go in really neat. So I'm torn between these two colors for that. I'm still trying to decide. A girl's always undecided. For my green that's going to go here for the top of the berry, if I'm going to use this, and this is really neat how she has it listed here. You're going to need 2.5 by 8-inch strips. This will come alongside. When you're looking at her pattern, these are going to be, one of them is going to be your white block and the other one's going to be one of your darker shades. But this will come along the end of these blocks. And you're going to have to pay special attention, read your pattern, watch her video, how she does these markings. It's really, really important. Or am I going to go with the lighter? Do this as the dark part of my berry up here and then put this as my stem. So we'll see what I come up with. And then I've already picked out my backing. I took my husband out with me so we could pick the backing. And I thought this cherry backing would be fitting, you know, a berry quilt. So we picked it up yesterday and I've got just enough to complete this project. I'll have to piece one little section, but it's going to come together in a little bit of time. She says it's challenging, so let's see if I'm up for the challenge. So I'll see you back here in just a little bit. I'll show you what I picked and then we'll get busy sewing. So I'll see you back in a little bit. Okay, so now we've got it narrowed down just a little bit more. So I think what I am going to do is I'm going to use this stem fabric as the darker. This will be the top of my berry. So I'm going to set these aside for now. I have took the liberties of going ahead and yes, I did pick the darker. I think these will really play well with that berry. Look how dark this looks on your screen. And I'm telling you what, it's really cute. When I cut out a pattern, I always do my initial counts. Then I mark that I needed to cut this one in half, and I've already done that. And you're going to do that to 2 blocks. So I've got that and the extra ones set aside per the directions. I've done the same thing for my white and my medium. So these are ready to go and ready to sew when I get to that stage of this project. Then next step is you make 2 separate piles. One, you're going to have 14 for your berry itself, and then you're going to have 16 sets, and this will be for your border, for your top and your bottom. And it's just going to come together so stinking fast. So let me get these pulled aside and I'll show you a few as I work the project. Where I did have a little bit of extra fabric, I think I might do my border, my binding per se, a little bit scrappy, but we'll know more as time goes on and how I'm liking the process of this. So the easiest way that I can find to do this is you're going to make 2 separate stacks. No rhyme or reason because you're going to be mixing this up. So if you're comfortable like I am with my machine, I have my marking set. You are only going to sew down one side of this. Set it aside because we're going to cut and then you're going to mix up colors so you don't have matching sets. So wherever you're comfortable, you do not need to pin here. This is going to go really fast. And I'm only going to show you on a couple of these as I work them in. So that one, I want to make sure that I've got my colors. See, that was a red and white dot. So now I'm going to just flip my stack. That way everything is all mixed up. You don't want 2 of the same. And it's going to be really important if you want it to be really, really scrappy that you do as she's directed in the pattern. So then I'll take this one and I'll put it with this one. And you're just, no rhyme or reason. It, like I said, you're just going to zip them in. So we'll bust these apart really quick. Make sure you do your counts. Make sure that you do have your 14. Great. And we do have all 14. So now we're going to split the block. So let me pull this over so you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I'm going to take my handy ruler. We'll move this one out of the way. And the side that you sewed, my line is right here. If you can't see it, flip it over. But I can see exactly where that is. So you're going to want to just cut on the line that you just made. And that should make it really simple. You're going to set these aside because we're going to be pressing them open. And just open these up and continue the process through all of these. You're making a little bit of extra work right now, but the outcome is going to be gorgeous. And as she talked about in her video, like we don't want to have two of the same blocks like here. So we're going to get down through as we're making these blocks up and busting the colors. When I first saw her video, I was like, there's an easier way, get down that other side. And then when I really took a look, see at what she was talking about, I was like, oh, that makes total sense. So don't try to skip a step here. She wants you to do it the way that she wrote the pattern. And there is a reason for everything that Tracy does. So trust the process as you work the pattern. And I'm sure you will not be disappointed with the outcome. So we'll separate these. And this is the way that she showed to do these. You're going to pick a color. So we know this is one of the colors that we do have. So we're going to pick one that doesn't match it, and we're going to pair these. And that is going to be one stack. So I can set this aside. Then I'm going to pick the next one. And it's just going to ensure that you don't have two that are matching. And she made this look so easy. And I should have did what she did by separating my reds and my whites, but I didn't. So I'm doing it real quick right now. All right. So now we're going to go down through. I'll find something with a star. And this will match. So I can set this aside because I know that's not going to happen again. We'll pick another star. Wait a minute, let me get all the stars out of the way. We've got this one. So we'll take a star here and a pink star here. And then I'm just going to lay them in stacks. And this is the way that she sorted them. And it was really cool. So I'm going to take this one, and I know it has dots here. So then I'll just pick a flower one here and lay this aside. We'll find this one. Make sure that we don't get that same color. I'll use the dots. So that's all we're doing for now. The next time you see, these will be pressed open just like this. I do use my acorn pen, as you can see here. I will get down every one of my seams, and it's like an extra layer of starch. I'll sew these together. I'll press them all open, and I'll meet you back again when it's time to make the broken dishes. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you in a little bit. So far, you have seen me cut out all the blocks. I've whacked them all up into their designated sizes. I've stacked them up. So as you can see right here, the stem in the pattern, it's cut that it's going to go this way. I opted to take mine to the left. I could have flipped the pattern and cut it that way, but I like the way that it laid out. My sewing group and I, we fussed with the colors here, and I spoke with Tracy, and she said to go more neon since I'm using the dark teal, the light, and the white. So it would really pop off the page, and it did. This was already appliqued in before I did my full quilt assembly. I went ahead and went 20 full blocks, added the stem, and I did the applique around the stem. Then I put it back on my design wall. I've made the 22 4-patch blocks and laid that out. Then I came back and did the bottom half of the broken dishes. Then I sewed it all together. So that's where we're at right now. The only thing left on this magical strawberry, I'm calling it a strawberry, it's a scrapberry gingham, is for us to do the last 28 broken dishes. And then you're going to see it over on the long arm shortly after that, as I'm letting my sewing groups help pick the design pattern that I'm going to put on it. So let's slip down to the table and I'll give you a look-see one more time at how to do a broken dish. Tracy did a fabulous job when she explained you make your blocks. You make sure that they have a lot of contrast when you're laying them out and you're joining them together. What you do is only sew down one side. At first I was like, why in the world would we do that? After I've sewed down one side, I'm going to press it over to the dark or over to the light. All of my quilts, I always prefer to go ahead and open my seams. I use a short stitch length on mine, and then I also follow that with the acorn pin. I think it gives me a really nice way to check to make sure I don't have excess strings. I don't have to go back and do a lot of trimming before I do my quilting. So that is the way this block will look when it goes into the scrapberry gingham. Then I'm going to take it apart here and lay these just into stacks. This one here I've already took the liberty to do, and I'm going to cut it open as well. I'm going to finger press it, and I'm only going to do one of these blocks, and the next time you see it, they will all be laid out in the sequence that Tracy has laid out for us. The first one will go to the side with your red, and you'll go all the way across. You'll go left, right, and they will all pop off the page if you do everything the way that she has said. And now I've got these. I'm going to take the 2 extra pieces. Instead of going up one side and down the other where I could have made them 2 at a time, she has a reason for why she asked us to do them this way. You wouldn't want 2 of the matching to be the same. So the way that she has done it, I'm going to be able to make sure that these do not match. So I'll take this one here, as you can see, and I'll take this one here, and I'll join these 2 together. But what I'll do in the end is honestly put them all in a stack and get them all lined up that way and make sure that I've got a lot of contrast. But for demonstration purposes, I'm just showing you this way. And as you can see, when they come together, there'll be quite a bit of contrast there. And I'll just pin these and set these aside, and they'll be ready to stitch up. So I'm not going to trim my blocks yet. I'm going to take this side's my red, so I'm going to lay my pink over here. And I'm going to make sure that it contrasts really well, and they do. I'm going to flip them over like this, and I'm going to make sure that my seams nest really well. Then I'm just going to pin right there. And I'm also going to pin here because I don't want any shifting. As I've evolved as a quilter, I'm more about the pinning and or clipping. So I'm going to turn the block this way, and I'm going to go straight across. Now this time, I can come up one side and down the other of my line. So give me just a second. And you're going to do a real scant 1/4 inch That way it allows you that buffer for when you're trimming your blocks down. And line it up here. Snip. And then now we're just going to cut this open. I'll pop my pins. And now you've got your broken dish. Your darks, your lights. So I'll give it a little bit of its tug. Finger press it down to get it started. I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing. After you've made them all, you'll square them all down to the measurements that is in her free pattern. If you have not seen that yet, you'll find in the description box below her information. This is a free pattern by Tracy. And you can slip over, get it, and get all the measurements. Watch her video, my video, and it'll show you how to line this block up. I've taken the liberty to mark mine here. It will wipe off with an alcohol wipe. I line up corner to corner. I'm making sure that I have this dot right in the center of this block. I'm just going to set this one aside. And I'm going to go ahead and square this block. I'll turn it and repeat the same thing. It's really easy. Just stay lined up here. Make sure your side and your bottom are lined up. Then square your block. These broken dishes look fabulous in any quilts. It's a little time consuming, but in the end, the result is stunning. So once I get these made up and hooked to the quilt, and then we'll long arm it together. I'll see you back in the next little clip. So now we're at the total ending of this amazing project that Tracy has challenged many of us to do. So let's get down to the table and I'll give you a look-see at some of the quilting. When I accepted the challenge, the berry was dead center and there was a lot of negative space in it. And that I wasn't sure how I was feeling about. So after talking to some of my guild members, the quilt hung behind me for a bit and they gave me ideas. So from those ideas, I started echoing and putting a lot of texture and depth into this quilt. And the pattern is outstanding. The quilting is phenomenal, and I'm just thrilled with the outcome. I did choose a cherry backing, and I've double batted strictly because I wanted that real deep texture to showcase not on just the front, but also on the back. And anywhere I go, this baby's going to go with me. I really like it, and this is one I'll do again. So as soon as I get the binding done on any of my quilts, I always adhere the label. That's just something I've made it a habit of doing. So my quilt was finished technically on 6/14/23. I always date the quilt as soon as it's done. And I always add a little verse. And this one's Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. And we keep hearts in everything that we do. And I just really like the way that this pattern turned out. I think Tracy did a phenomenal job. I did do some echoing around the berry. I did put some leaves in. This was my first time doing leaves with the long arm. And you'll be able to see those here and all around the top where the berry green is. So now that this is totally wrapped up, I'd like to personally thank Tracy over at the Sewing Channel. Her link will also be dropped in the description box. Click on that. Look for her scrap berry gingham pattern in the video. Watch the video. Click on that pattern. It's a fun sew. And I'm excited to see how everyone else's turns out. She has a challenge out for many of us. It's open to anybody. Do the quilt, snap the pictures, send them to Tracy, and give her a little note to let her know that you did it. Take care, God bless, and have a fabulous day. And as we're wrapping this video up, you'll see a couple little pictures at the end. Bye-bye, guys.